Welcome to Siam Technology College's Sustaining Success Series, also known as S3. This sustainability education podcast aims to showcase the diverse roles and best practices in sustainable business, climate change, net zero, ESG, creating business value, and other sustainability topics with real-world examples. Our goal is to inspire both learners and leaders to take action and to help upskill the workforce. I'm your host, Ryan Frazier, Special Advisor to the President of Siam Technology College and Managing Partner, CEO of Frazier Global. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Art, STC Professor and Sustainability Education Program Associate. Today, we are very pleased to have Naveen Sethi, Managing Director and CEO of Vinova Fashion. Sawadee ka.
Sawadee ka.
It's so great to have you, Naveen. I want to get right into it for our viewers today because, you know, we've had a lot of sustainability professionals that have come on this podcast. What's unique about you is you're a business leader. Like, you're a CEO of a small to medium-sized company that is very much, supportive in integrating sustainability into your business practices. So I want to talk about that. But before we do, Naveen, first off, how does one become a CEO of Vinova Fashion?
Okay. When I came back from my studies, I joined my dad in his business. So he was doing fabrics. So I got involved in selling fabrics. So the model of our fabric business was we imported fabrics from Japan, China, Europe to sell to brands like Jaspal, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗍, Saaphat Group, Reno, A to Z. So we sold. That was our main focus. And then I got married, and then my children were in a school named St. Andrews. So I used to go and drop them a few times. And when I went to drop them, I saw the quality wasn't good. I mean, the color of the skirts were different. You know, the batches were so much different. The printing quality was really bad. In 3 months, it would just go off. And we had to keep pressing, the garments every time. So I just somehow had a commitment that I need to give back to the school. I mean, I'm grateful that they educated my children. And what can I do as a person? I mean, they're going to leave in 2 years. So what can I contribute to the school? So I thought, why not I just get the best fabrics for them and make the garments and show them. So I just started doing that. And I just kept doing it without any expectation of any orders. So I just kept doing until one fine day, some company in the UK took over the St. Andrew, that branch. And then they wanted to change the uniform. And my garments were there. So they approved all the garments and they gave the first order. That was quite a big order. The first big order, 15,000 pieces. And that was when Vinova was born.
Wow. Well, and so that's a big order for anyone just to start off.
Yes.
And so in your case, you became CEO, managing director, because you started the business,
yes.
right? Now, a lot of people, they have to work their way up through the organization, or the other side of that is as an entrepreneur,
yes.
you start a business and you are the CEO.
Yes.
And that was your path. And it's been over 10 years now
yes.
since you started your company. Well, that is all cool, but we're talking sustainability,
yes.
Naveen, and I have to ask, what sparked your interest in sustainability and bringing that into Vinova Fashion?
The first spark came from the family culture because we normally travel on outdoors. We love mountains, rivers. So we really have good time with our family. And then one fine day, we were in Phuket. And then my kids were walking in front of us and they just started picking up bottles. So we were like, okay, let us also help them pick up. So we started picking up. It took 4 hours to 5 hours to clean the whole beach. Then that really gave a strong reflection on me. Hey, I mean, if we as a business can do something regards this. So that was my first point that I thought, sustainability, how can I help in this part? So that was the first point. That was the first powerful thought that came. I really got to do something about it. But what? I didn't know at that time.
But out of it, obviously, there was a moment that it influenced you in terms of how you do business. So tell us about, okay, you realized that you cared about this and this was important. But when was that moment when you did realize that I want to find ways to include it in the business?
Oh, yes. That was when I visited a temple And the head monk of that temple, a Thai temple, was into sustainability. So what he was doing is he was trying to take plastic bottles from the market and change it into the monk robes. Such a low thing. He wanted to bring it high in the eyes of the population to teach them that, hey, recycle, you don't throw, you bring it up. So I loved his inspiration to make into the monk robes. And then he did more. He did into the bottle, what do you call the boxes, the cartons for milk that is given to schools. He gets that in and he makes it into roof. He talks to people around, come on, let's try to make a roof, do something. So he actually created 2-3 products in this, a monk. So I think he was the one who said, it's enough. I got to do something about it. I'm going to develop the yarn. I'm going to study yarns. I'm going to talk to weavers. I'm going to make that happen. If he can do, why not me? It's the high time now. I think that was the point where he said, that's it. I'm going to start.
Yeah. Now, and and Mr. R, you being a professor here at Siam Technology College, you are around a lot of students. Many of them have uniforms as well. I don't know if you experience, how students feel about sustainability and wanting to know that the fashion or the clothes that they wear, they are, they're more sustainable, materials and things like that. But I mean, I don't know, what's your thought in terms of just hearing how Naveen kind of found himself, embracing sustainability as a business owner?
Yeah, very similar to Mr. Naveen here. Our students, some of them do not agree with, a specific type of clothing that they have to, wear to school because they have to iron the clothes. Even ironing the clothes, takes time to do, and you use electricity for that. So some of the students, a group of students might find that, okay, other types of clothing may be more suitable, just to come and for 3 hours, you do not need to iron your clothes and everything. Yeah. And that's sustainability, like you were saying.
Did you find that your materials did require more or less ironing?
This is our top focus. When we entered St. Andrew with the new collection, our focus was only this: no iron. Second, it has to last long. So we invest on great quality dyeing. So the dyeing is so good quality that it lasts long. So we don't want parents to buy more uniforms. We want parents to buy less. So there's less wastage. That was our model of Vinova, and it's always been that way. Our model is exactly this.
I already like the idea of waking up in the morning and not having to iron. Yes. I wish I didn't have to iron anything ever, but so I can see how that would be very attractive. Yes. Not only, I don't know what we call that, but not only is it more sustainable materials, but I don't have to iron. Whatever that is, it gives me my time back.
Right.
I love that idea. So let's segue over, Naveen, into a little bit more about the steps you're taking at Vinova Fashion to become more sustainable. Talk to us a little bit about what steps you're taking now.
The first step is we want to channel as many bottles into the uniform as possible, because if we channel the bottles into uniform, we are saving it from its journey into the ocean, into the landfills. That's our first biggest goal. So it's not easy to develop materials. So we took 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years to develop, because the material got to be good. It got to be good airflow, good quality. It should even feel better than original polyester. I mean, the traditional polyester. So that is really a tough thing. I think many people wouldn't want to go through that 1.5 year to 2 years of research. I developed, I kept making it until I was happy. Okay, this is past the quality, is above the quality standard. Then, so the point is to invest in creating products recycle. Okay, that is our focus in Vinova, giving back on sustainability. And the second point is we try to create a culture in our company of separating waste, right? And less paper, right? And we are going to put solar panels soon on the rooftop also. So we are trying to do everything that's sustainable in the concept.
Talk to us a little bit, Mr. before we go to your question, but you had mentioned, and maybe you touched on this, but like for every uniform, there's so many less plastic bottles.
Yes,
right?
12 bottles.
12 less plastic bottles for every one uniform.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
Right.
That's really good.
Yeah,
right?
12 bottles.
So let's get this here. Let's get this together. Not only do I got my uniform for school, right? Which is coming from recyclable materials.
Yes.
I don't have to iron, which is a big deal, right? For everybody, even adults. And knowing that I'm saving 12 bottles for every piece of material, that's what we call a win-win-win. win in my book. So I have to say that now. Mr. R, you were gonna say.
Yeah, I mean the process of creating these, turning these bottles into clothing and all. Do you require a lot of energy to do so?
This is a very good question. 90% lesser energy than traditional polyester, and 80% less greenhouse gas emission. So that's a super plus bonus.
Right. Win-win plus.
Win plus, right?
Yeah, you win plus. But nobody knows that part. If they know that part, why would people not take recycled uniform? I don't understand this.
All right, Naveen, I want to take a second because, we're talking about sustainability and we're talking about your business. But one thing we hadn't quite touched on is why did you choose to focus on uniforms as a part of your business in the first place?
Uniforms started from my journey at the first order from St. Andrew, propelled me to get into garments because I felt that there was a demand for no press, high quality fabrics that require less time to take care of fabrics and consistently good quality. There was a demand because that proved that there was a good demand. So the reason I've entered into this, and why did I use this as sustainability? Because that's our core strength on that sustainable point of no press, high quality fabrics, good quality printing, so parents can buy lesser garments. So because of the inspiration, as I told you, from the monk, I wanted to create fabric. So uniform would be the best for me because it's in my business model and that's something I can do.
Yeah, it's a good market too. I mean, you're like, look, uniforms, it's a good market because there are a lot of employees, students, who wear uniforms. So I think it's a really good market to focus on. Makes a lot of sense to me. Now, all right, let's pivot a little bit here. We're here at Siam Technology College.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about technology as it plays a big role in modern sustainability efforts. Are there any innovative tools or technologies that you're introducing to support your mission?
Yeah, I've actually partnered with one person, which I'm going to take out the product soon. The concept is we make a machine in which a child can go and put the bottles in, and they have to scan their card, so they get points or any points that they get, which the school devise the plan. So to propel them to themselves put the bottles in, or tell their families to give it to him to put it in, so that he gets the points. So once he gets the points, then he's actually creating a change outside in his home also, because everyone loves the child. Hey, you're getting points. Okay, I get you bottles. So you're trying to change the mindset of the people behind. And the second point is a lot of organic waste in the school canteen. What do they do with it? I don't know. I have a question. So I thought maybe I've told him to create a machine, which he said he's already tested it. The machine puts the organic waste on top, and then within 24 hours, it becomes soil. So what is the point? The teachers can tell the kids, hey, it is the soil from the food waste. You can use the soil to grow plants. So I think it's a hands-on experience for the students. What do you think about this? Two ideas that I wanted to introduce soon.
Yeah. Are you asking us or did you?
We are asking you.
I think, yeah.
Because I've talked to them already. I want to, but I want to ask your viewpoint on it.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, I think it sounds really interesting, that I think you should explore it. I mean, exactly what you're doing. Look at it, look at the data, what it suggests. But here's the question I have tied to that. When you innovate and you're trying to be more sustainable, how do you keep yourself affordable? Because a lot of times these days, right, when it comes to anything, people hear sustainability. If they know what it means, they're like, oh, that sounds great. I like it. But how much more is it going to cost me to, buy this shirt that's more sustainably made? It's a recyclable material versus, other material out there on the street. How do you address affordability?
The price difference will be about 10 to 15 to 20 baht, depends on the quantity. So the price difference is not much. I have the power to even increase much more, but our goal is not to profit from that. Our goal is to instigate a change of decision making. So the lowest gap is what is our focus, because the lowest gap is actually the cost difference. So we are just adding the cost difference. We are not adding the marketing possibilities, because we want to promote a change in habit of purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the question that I would like to ask is connecting to a little bit to our students here. What if they would like to, enter the job market, or there maybe perhaps they're interested in becoming, like you as a CEO of producing these turning plastics into clothing. How competitive is it in the market right now?
I feel the competition is low because there is, I don't say, okay, take for example, we went to present Bank of Patna. We wanted to present them for long, but this time they called us in, they called all the suppliers in, they said, we want recycle. But we have been working for so long to develop materials, so we presented, and the whole order of Bank of Patna has come to us because we had sustainable, we had bamboo fabric made from bamboo. So we had the whole collection. So basically, very less competition, very less. Because people don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to explain it. They don't have the passion. If they're doing out of business, you don't come from the heart. When you present, when you talk, they just choose you somehow.
As we kind of round out the podcast, Naveen, I want to kind of shift the conversation to talk about, advice you have for students and young people and other consumers as well. But before we get there, I want to take a minute and, as someone who is involved with the Thai Institute of Directors, or also known as the Thai IOD, you're around a lot of business leaders here in Thailand. Many of them sit on boards of directors. Some of them are also executives at other companies. What are you hearing from other leaders around embracing sustainability as a part of doing business and being better at business?
What I have talked to many people, they just know sustainability is important, but they are still in the infant stage. All Thai, whoever I've talked to, they're all in the infant stage. They know sustainability is coming. Once the customers demand sustainability, then they are forced to do. If the customer don't demand, they don't need to do. So it's all a matter of customers' policy now. So if the customers require, then they need to work out and how to do it, how to get the carbon footprint certificate, what they have to do, how can they reduce it. Then they work.
Right.
It's completely based on customers, not their own motivation.
Right. So it's driven by consumers in large part. Now, in some cases, it's also driven by investors. In your company. And increasingly, we're starting to see the regulators as well start to have a say. So I think you're going to see, in addition to consumers, which are the main driver for many companies, you also have investors. If you're taking in equity, for instance, if you're a public company and you need to attract capital, but then, closely following is the governmental regulators who are starting to, require more and more large companies, which means it's going to trickle down to the smaller companies to address concerns around climate change and things like that. Okay, so that said, let's pivot to talk about advice. Naveen, you are a businessman. You have some children. You're a mentor, I'm sure, to a number of others. A lot of the folks that watch this podcast are going to be students from STC, maybe other universities, as well as young people or young professionals who are maybe 2 or 3 years into their career. And, they look at someone like you who's running a company, who's been successful, thankfully, in getting the company where it's at. And they would love to learn from you, or at least get a few pieces of advice from you. So what advice would you give students or young professionals who are passionate about sustainability, but maybe they don't have the expertise yet?
I would advise all the students to be focused on their passion, reflect on all their actions, question more, support companies and brands that use recycled products or are sustainable in any way. They have to be the catalyst for the change to happen, and they got to not give up. If they believe in sustainability, they want to come out with products of sustainability, they got to create the product. It's very challenging to create any product that the market is still not ready. We took like 2 years. It just started picking up. I mean, you need a lot of patience, a lot of love and passion on it, and don't give up on that passion and keep doing. Like we worked 2 years. We didn't wait for the market to pick up. Our passion started first. We wanted to help. So you got to be persistent That's very important. Persistent and don't give up. You can do that as a side product, but continue feeding it. It's like watering the plant. Just a little bit. Just keep letting it grow, because that's important. That's very important. That's my top advice. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Mr. Adadal? I mean, how does that strike you in terms of, when you hear him say, be persistent, don't give up, keep watering it like a plant? Do you think that's something that would resonate with students?
Yes, of course. I think students will need to, know what they're passionate about, and especially think about sustainability always, because it can be integrated into all the passions that they have, right?
Yeah, when you think about, I guess, some of the lessons you learned so far, Naveen, just integrating more sustainable business practices into Vinova Fashion. Any big lessons learned that you've already gotten already? Like, it's harder than I thought, or it's you're going to make some mistakes, or are there any lessons you've learned so far as it relates to just integrating sustainability into your company?
Yes, naturally, all my staffs are Thais, and we started telling them why not. We started educating them. First, we had to spend time to educate them. Please, no more plastics into the office, and try to get bottles. You're just getting packets of, just get bottles. So now everyone is getting bottle. So number one, reducing plastics a lot, and we promote them not to. It was difficulty. It took nearly a year. Wow. Can you believe, in spite of explaining them, telling that the owners are passionate, please save the world, please be a part. Reduce paper, yes, that worked very fast, but plastics was really long. It took nearly a year. Wow. And separating waste, yes, started already. Yeah, so
and these are simple things. These are. It still could take a while, as you mentioned, but these are not. I always try to remind people, when it comes to sustainability, like, it doesn't have to be these big complex problems all the time. It can be little things, right? Yes, it still takes changing behaviors and changing culture. Like you said, it took you over a year just to bringing less plastics into the office. Yes. But we talked about this on one of our last podcasts, reducing the amount of paper you use, right? Using less plastics, in the office. I mean, these are things that are like, oh, yeah, I could do that. Maybe cutting the lights off when you're not using them, right? Yes. To conserve energy, right? How about just treating people with dignity? Believe it or not, that's a social sustainability factor. Treating people with respect and dignity these are common, simple things that, when you do them, you can help lift up both our environment and the people who live in our community. So before we wrap up here, did you have a question you want to jump in with?
Oh, no, I just want to say that, as long as they can see the impact, I think they would, realize how important it is.
Well, exactly. And ultimately, if you're in business, you also start to see how you can both, run a business with purpose and still be profitable. And I think that you don't have to sacrifice profitability when you can do sustainable things for your business. But as you mentioned, Naveen, at just a few minutes ago, one of the most important stakeholders is the consumer.
Yes.
That is the folks who buy your products and buy your services. So what piece of advice would you give consumers as it relates to helping them make more informed and sustainable choices in fashion?
I think we need to educate the consumers, number one. Because they lack the knowledge, they make those decisions. If they have the power to make the decision, we got to educate them that don't look at only labels. You have to look through the labels. See, if you're going to buy something, you got to know where the fabric, how is the fabric produced. You have to go and study the company. Like my daughter, my son, whatever they buy, they go and study the whole history of the company. I say, you're just buying a shirt. No, I have to study the whole profile of the company that I make a decision. So that was one point. And the second point, actually, I missed to tell for the passionate people is one thing. If their parents have a property, a barren land, that they have to take their personal focus to make sure trees are grown on that land. Like we have a land in Khon Kaen, 12 Rai. It's been barren for 10 years. My son, my daughter, naturally, they're all in the sustainable world. My daughter is also in sustainability. My son also in sustainability. They said, no, you cannot leave that land barren. I said, okay, you take over. You grow the trees. He went there a few times. Now we have grown 3,500 trees. That is the best passionate person can do, because there's a lot of barren lands their families must be having. They can turn it, fill it up with trees. If it is going to be barren, let it be with trees. It's better. Yeah.
You reduce the amount of carbon that's going to the atmosphere as well. Okay, Mr. Art, anything before we wrap up with Mr. Naveen here?
No.
All right. Well, hey, this has been so interesting. Another great podcast. I want to wrap this episode of S3, the Sustaining Success Series, Siam Technology College's Sustainability Education Podcast, by saying it has been such a pleasure to host you, Naveen Sethi, with Vinova Fashion. For myself, Ryan Frazier, my co-host, Mr. Art, and on behalf of Siam Technology College, thank you for joining us, and thank you all for watching. Till next time.